video that I've put together because somebody the other day asked me about working in an existing building, changing the fire alarm system over. They were talking about, do you do it with radio, do you do it with wired? What I said to them is that you can do it with wired and you can do it with radio. It's horses for courses. Now, it made me think about an example where we successfully used a wired system in a building to upgrade it. Now, I've made myself some notes on the board. You won't be able to read that because it's in my scroll. But why? Why did the client want to do it? The client wanted to do it because he wanted to modernise the fire alarm system. It was in a hospice, so it's a very sensitive building, and he wanted to modernise the fire alarm, and he wanted to be able to phase evacuate it. So if you look at the zone chart, for example, he wanted that bit to be able to go off before that bit went off, and then that bit went off, and so on, which he can't do with his conventional fire alarm system. So the challenge in any working building was exacerbated by the fact that this one was a hospice. So it was very sensitive, and we worked with a builder, a great builder called MP Dunn, and they phased the areas, closed them off, and then we came in, did the wiring, added it to a new wired system, and the solution was what we did here. So you had the existing wiring that went out to your smoke detectors and your sounders. In my little drawing of sounders, but these ones are actually bells, so they were ding-a-ling-a-ling. And we had a new system which we wired into the new areas, back to the new system, and we had smoke detectors and had sounders on here. And what we did is that in phases that we did this area of the building, for example, so that phase was wired. Then it was wired back to the panel, and then we did another phase, which is this area of the building, and then so on. But the key thing was the fact that we weren't doing the whole building. So what we needed to do was to keep the existing system running with the new system that we were putting in. So we linked the two systems together. Now, we did a little bit more than that. What we actually did is we took out all of the bits and pieces inside the existing system, put in something called interfaces, and the interfaces were on this loop of wiring and connected all the old equipment to this fire alarm system. So by the time we'd finished, you had one new fire alarm panel that was running all of the new equipment in say, for example, an area of the building, whereas this area of the building had the existing system, which was connected via interfaces into the new system. The key for the customer is that this detector, which is a smoke detector, for example, he knows is in the nurses' station. So he now knows, or they know, when they're using the system, that that detector is in that area. Whereas the old system, this could have been the entire first floor of the building, or the entire second floor of the building. So what he's done is he's moved away from knowing roughly what area it was, as in the top floor, to it's actually that detector outside so-and-so's office. Now, the engineer that did the work, I've just asked him to come in. This is Paul.
Yeah.
This makes things real simple because I'm Paul, he's Paul. He's just going to explain some of the areas that he did.
Yeah, I think the important thing to note is in a live building, and obviously a very sensitive building, you don't have to close off the entire building while you're doing it. You can work on this area, for example. This could be one wing of the hospital, and once all this is installed, you can put a temporary link cable back into the panel, so all of this is now live on your new system. And then when you put patients back into here, you then close off this section of the building, and you can do the same thing again, and you can put a temporary link back in. So we're now reopened this full of patients, we're now working on this one, and then we can bring patients back in here and then work on a new phase of the building. And I think it's just while you're in a live building with nurses and doctors running backwards and forwards, you have to be very sensitive to that, but you can work around them and upgrade your fire system whilst the building is live.
So, thank you very much for watching. I hope you got something from what we were talking about today. In fact, it was yesterday and I was wearing a different shirt, but Tom cut the video short, so he said to me, can you finish this today? So, thank you, bye.